Going on, everybody? Good morning. So today we are going to be doing something I haven't seen this done yet. Doesn't mean it's not out there. Freightliner Cascadia 2009 all the way up to 16 17, right around there. If your truck does not have a suspension dump switch or valve, you can install it. Very simple. You're going to need a few things, nothing complicated. Airline about 25 feet, maybe less. You're going to have to run it up from the firewall here all the way down along the inside of the chassis, and you're going to run that back to the height leveling valve, okay, right over here. And there we are. Sorry, I got a glare. There we go. So you're gonna have to run a line 1/4 inch, and that's pretty much it for that. And then you're gonna have to need a few things. Well, you're gonna need a few things, period, no matter what. So airline 1/4 inch. The next thing you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need a height leveling valve, because the one you have isn't going to actually do the job that you need. So this is the one that you can use. I'm sure there's probably some other options out there. That is the part number. Hopefully that can help you guys out. Okay, now this is actually off of this is one that could be used off of a Cascadia that already has the feature on it. Okay, so the suspension dump valve, or the height control valve, but it has the option to dump. Okay, you're going to need your switch. This is just a regular switch that you can purchase at Freightliner. I don't know if you can see the part number there. And you're going to need, of course, your valve. And then the last thing you're going to need is a fitting. Now you can transfer some of the fittings over. If they're not compatible, then the next thing you're going to need to do is obviously start buying some fittings, but that's going to be the least of the problems, or the least of the things you're going to need to do. So let me show you what else we're going to do here. All right, guys, there we go. Sorry, I had to swap out batteries. The other one was dying out on me. So very simple. This is the height control valve. Okay, very simple setup. So if your truck does not have it, you're going to need something like this to go ahead and make it all happen. I'm going to show you what we're going to do on the dash. So I'm going to kind of show you step by step. Keep it very simple. This is the dump. So this is actually what's going to come from the dash. This is when you hit the switch, the air is going to hit here. Okay, it's going to... Actually, the picture really illustrates everything. Very easy, very simple. This is your exhaust port. So if you're looking right at it while it's mounted, this is your exhaust port. This is to the airbag, air supply port. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. This is just to go ahead and center the pin. Everything else is going to really connect. It's a plug and play setup. So you're going to run your air. Again, this is coming from the dash itself right over here. Sorry about that. This goes to your bags, to the bag itself, and then of course we're going to have this. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a step-by-step on what we're going to do to get this all set up, installed, and ready to go, and then we'll test it at the end of the video, and then that's pretty much it. So it's a very straightforward thing. You can do this yourself. The only issue you may run into is just simply making a cutout on your dash, but we're going to do that, and I'm going to show you how we do it. All right, guys, here we go. So this is the dash. This is what it's going to look like on most of your Cascadias. Some of them will have a differential lock, some will have a fifth wheel, and then some, of course, will not have the suspension dump valve. So since we're going to be adding the suspension dump valve to here, remove your 4 screws. Okay, you don't really need to mess with this side of it. The panel itself will literally just come out to the right. So let's do that really quick. Now, if you have air in the system itself, I would advise that you go ahead and take the air out. So apply the brakes, get air as low as possible. And I'm going to kind of show you what we're going to do to set this up. And again, however you want to install it, or wherever you want to install it, it's up to you. Most have it here. I've seen a few kind of go side by side, left to right, but we're probably going to install it right up here, depending on how much room I have. If I have enough room without anything obstructing in the rear of this, then that's probably the way we're going to go. So again, take that out. Do the same thing for the left. It's a T25 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, T25. So get your T25 and then go from there. So all right, now here comes the fun part. This is going to come out and to the right. So just kind of do a little visual of the way things are set up over here. So silver, this is actually pretty simple. So air supply in, and this goes to whatever you're commanding. So in this case, if you're going to command the power divide, this is going to the power divide itself. This is going to supply air to this valve or this control, and then this will send the signal down to wherever it's going. So keep that in mind. Okay, now this is a little bit of a different setup because this is for the kingpin of the fifth wheel release. When you pull it, it should release the jaws, and then when you let it go from there. So keep that in mind, how we're going to set this up and rig this up. So this is directly from there, another air, and again, it's just supply, return, or return supply. You're going to figure that out on your own. Not really that big of a deal. The switch itself, let me move the camera over here. Okay, the switch itself, we're probably going to be installing it right up here. So keep that in mind. There's plenty of room there. The only thing we might have to mess with a little bit is the plumbing, which is going to be these air lines here again. So let's do that. Let me pull the switch out. We're going to measure a little bit before we actually cut and tear things apart. And that's pretty much it from there. So give me a second. We will be right back. Here we go. So opened up the bag. Here's the switch itself. So all you're going to have is the auto, which you already know, and then lower. That's going to send the air going where it's going to go. This is the air in. This is the air out, and this is the air line that's going to supply another little switch or control whatever you have there. So keep that in mind. Again, going to the valve itself, air supply in, and then going to whatever other switch that you have there to command. For example, power divide, suspension dump, whatever. This is the one that's going to go in the middle. If you have nothing there, they do sell a 1/4-inch plug. It's a plastic little plug that plugs right in there, and then that'll pretty much eliminate that air going from anywhere else. So keep that in mind, but we're probably going to need it because we have air lines going here to the fifth wheel. So all right, I'm going to take shit apart. We're going to cut, we're going to measure, cut, and then install everything back in there. Thing to take note, get your cell phone out, take a picture of the plumbing just in case there's a mistake somewhere. You kind of have a reference point that you can go back towards. Nice thing is that these are all color coded or color coordinated, so silver with silver, blue with blue, yellow, green, and so on and so forth. But it doesn't hurt to not take a picture. So take a photo. It will help you out in the future. Keep that in mind. Really quick before I start cutting and doing all that stuff, what I'm going to do is get an idea of where I'm going to install the switch. Keep in mind, you're going to cut, I would recommend measuring top to bottom, left to right. And then these little tabs that you see there, those are what's going to actually lock. So when you install this from the front side towards the back, these little clips will kind of snap into place. I hope you can see them there on the left, and you can see that there on the right. So again, we're going to get an idea of where we want it. We're going to measure, and we're going to go from there. So I'll show you guys what we do, and let me know what you guys think as we go along. If there's improvements we can make, you know, hey, I don't mind taking some criticism. So more or less, that is the area that we're going to be cutting. Everything that's going to be in that X. I try to line it up as best possible with the bottom switch and make it even, so that way on the other side it'll look pretty good, pretty factory. So once this is all said and done, we're going to remove, well, first thing first, we're going to remove this, make our cuts, install the new switch, install the old, our airline, our plumbing, put that all back together, and then we're going to go ahead and run one last piece of airline. I'm going to show you that. We're going to show you the valve itself, and that's pretty much it. Then we'll test, of course, and make sure it all works. We have everything pretty much set up and ready to go. We have our airline supply that's going to run from the manifold. Okay, this is our manifold on the outside. It's going to run from the manifold down along the chassis to make it look as good as factory as possible. We're going to run it right along there. And a few things you can do. If you have an open port, sometimes there's a plug you're going to find there on the 1/4 inch. If you don't, look up a little bit further. See that blue? That's an open spot. So we're gonna connect our black 1/4 inch line. Again, you can use blue, whatever color you want, doesn't matter. And you're gonna run that and connect it to the 1/4 inch there. However, once you do that, now you're gonna have to go on the inside of the truck. And you're gonna go ahead and remove this panel. Okay, this panel is pretty simple. Actually, get this little bad boy out of the way, and then you're going to remove this panel here. That'll give you access to the manifold there. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to show you what we're going to look for, and then we're going to look all the way up inside, and you're going to find the 1/4 inch blue that's empty, and that's the spot that we're going to use. So we're going to get air from there to there. We're going to run it behind. It's going to pop up right up there at the top, and then we're going to connect everything. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. this is the way it's going to look. Now you can really arrange it any way you want. Okay, there we go. So there's our new switch to lower and auto your suspension. Your differential power divide, your lock unlock is still there. All we did was move it up here. Again, whatever works for you. If you want to do it, you know, this on top, that on bottom, whatever, it's up to you. It's the same thing. There's our little back view there. So remember, air in, air to whatever you're commanding. This little bad boy is going to bridge to here, which is going to supply the air. This is going to go to the power divide. And this yellow one here will go to this yellow, green, and again, you're just going to match everything up back the way you had it. We're going to fire it up. We're going to get the air to build up, and we're going to go from there and test, make sure everything works. Let me quickly show you the valve. I think Tony's working on that right now. There's Chavo. Chavo, say hello. Hey. And that's what the new valve is going to look like right there. So pretty simple, easy to install. You may have to make some slight modifications, but not that big of a deal. Okay, so we'll keep you guys posted. Again, here is our black airline. If you can see that one right there, that's our 1/4 inch. That's coming from the firewall. It's going to go right there to that little port. So keep that in mind. Again, I'm not really showing too much, not because I'm trying to hide anything, but because I'm actually trying to do other things at the same time. So give you guys an idea of what we've got going on there. Okay, there are 4 ports like I showed you guys. The 2 top are going to be for the airbag. There's one at the bottom for another airbag, and the bottom closest to the rail is the one that's going to be the exhaust port, and that's when you hit the switch, that's what's going to release the air down to let your bags drop. And then when you hit the switch back, it cuts the air off, lets everything go back to place to level, and then that's pretty much it. So guys, it's a pretty simple, straightforward shot. All right, but anyway, without going too crazy and jumping all over the place like I typically do, let's get this crap out of the way and let's run some airlines.
As I mentioned, let's get this shit out of the way. 1, 2, 3. Let's get these little things and put them down there. Same thing up here. You're going to have 2, and you're going to have a 3rd one down there. You might need an extension to reach it. Let's see. Oh, but you can't see down there. Alrighty. And then last but not least, our little friends right up here. Sorry guys. Oops. Oops. Sorry about that. There we go. Hold on, gotta put this down for a second.
Alrighty guys, so I don't know if you guys can see in there, it's pretty dark. However, that blue 1/4 inch line is going to be up there on the upper left. You're going to run an airline from there up inside the little firewall, and it's going to leave you right up here to where your switch is. So once you do that, put everything back together. We're going to connect everything here. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Let me go take a look back here and see how we're doing on the progress with the airlines. Okay, not progress, no progress yet, but we're getting there. So if you can see that, there's one airline. We may have to make an adjustment and change the fitting here just so we get a nice 45 instead of getting that 90 degree. Sorry, Chavo. And then down here, there we go. You can see that 1/4 inch line, I'm sorry, 3/8 line is going to go right down here to this fitting. Sorry about that, guys. I'm all over the place today. So right down here, this fitting, there's that other airline. So that's pretty much it. Airbag, 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 air supply line, 1/4 inch that comes from the dash, the firewall that we talked about. We are going to put a new height leveling valve. You don't have to. If yours is still good and compatible, you can go ahead and do that there. And that's pretty much it here. It's, again, very straightforward. You just kind of have to look at the plumbing and make sure you're getting all that done correctly. So while Tony's taking care of that, I'm going to go back over here, run our new airline. Alrighty, here we are. Here's the dash. Down there I put a flashlight. Hopefully we can see which way the light's going to come out, just to give you a general idea. And way back there, you're going to see that little yellow in the middle right hand corner of your screen. That's more or less the direction we got to go. So if you follow this line, that's generally where we're going to go. So you're going to go straight down to the pedal, connect. You're going to measure up here, cut. Give yourself a little extra room. Don't make it too tight, so that way you have some play. And that's pretty much that. So let me run the airline and go from there. Alrighty, so I am running the 1/4 inch airline down through the backside, and we're gonna go ahead and connect it to the manifold. However, I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna get the camera on it as best I can. Right back there, let's see, right where my finger is gonna point to, okay? There's the blue line. You're gonna eventually have, or sometimes you're gonna have this little 1/4 inch plug. It's a push-pull setup, so you're gonna need a screwdriver, push and pull this little plug out, and that's the line we're gonna go ahead and tap into. If not, right above there, you're gonna have some ports that you can go through, but you'd have to drill through, and that's gonna create a bit more of a problem. So what I recommend is that blue little pin, or I'm sorry, that blue port, pull out that pin, and that's the line we're gonna tap into because our other air is already on the other side. So let me put this down, grab some tools, and go from there. Alrighty, and just like that, that is the 1/4 inch plug that you're gonna find in its place. Removed it, took a little messing around with. So screwdriver, flat, long, pair of pliers, and then carefully you're gonna push, pull to get that bad boy out. Once you do that, get all that crap out of the way, you're gonna get your 1/4 inch airline right over here, and then you're gonna simply plug it in to that little spot, okay? That's it. So give it a good little push pull. Hopefully you guys can see that there. Push pull, and that's it. That's going to be the air signal that goes down to the bag to dump the suspension. So now we have our line up here. We're going to cut it, connect everything, fire it up, test, and go from there. Alrighty guys, so there we go. Just mounted the GoPro. Here's our airline that again is going to send the signal down to the bags to dump whenever you need them to dump. This is our electrical plug, and the nice thing is it looks like it has one here, so we may actually have electrical power already there, which is great, especially if we're going to be doing that at night. You want to be able to see these bad boys line up or illuminate, or light up or illuminate. So anyway, let's get this thing going. We're going to cut it. Let me grab my little trusty knife. Kershaw, baby. Anyway, so again, we're going to cut this. I'm going to kind of leave it out here long enough so that way it has plenty of reach and it's not too tight. There's not too much tension on it. So I'm thinking that's pretty good right there. So we're going to cut that and then connect everything from there. So let's go. Alrighty, done and done. Get the airline out of the way. Move all these cosmetics out of the way. So remember I showed you guys this little jumper that goes from one to the other. So we're going to replace that. This thing starts to get kind of dry and brittle, so we can avoid some air leaks. Let's go ahead and cut new ones. Now it can be yellow, but I actually don't have any extra yellow. I have this white 1/4 inch. So we're going to cut two of these. Again, one's going to have to jump from one switch to the other, and then from the switch over to the 5th wheel release. So let's get that going. So now we're going to get everything hooked up as best we can. We still need to test, so we're not completely out of the woods. Hopefully the sun's giving you guys a decent sight here what we got going on. Again, everything is color coordinated. Just keep in mind, I don't have yellow, so normally you would go from the yellow of the middle switch over to the supply of the 5th wheel release. So I'm using white, not a big deal, okay? And then the final thing we're gonna need right now, last thing I need to do is get a little jumper cable, and I actually made that one a little too big, but what you're gonna wanna do is go from here to here. All right guys, so I tried to go with a little bit of a shorter route. That's not working out. It really is a very short air line that goes from here to here. However, every time I try to do that, I kept kind of pinching the other line. So I went a little bit longer. It's not really pinching the line, still gonna supply it, but I'm gonna test it nonetheless. If it does not work, then of course I'm gonna have to make the right corrections and go from there. So as of now, everything is connected. We're gonna go ahead and fire up this truck. We're gonna leave everything in the auto position, unlock for the differential. Now we're gonna test. So let's see what we got going on. I know we don't have enough air because I took everything out. And yeah, completely low on air. So let's fire it up. Let's get up to about 125, 130 PSI, and then we'll test everything and make sure everything works. So stand by guys, let's get some air. Alrighty guys, so right now we're at about 100 PSI. Let's go check the airbags, make sure those are working. We're gonna hit the switch and make sure that's working. And of course, check the power divide. So hopefully we didn't miss anything. We'll find out right now in a second. Let's take a quick little look. The valve itself looks adjusted. It looks pretty good. However, I do have the front end up, so that's a little bit of a different story. Alrighty, so just to kind of show you guys, hooked up the power lines, which are already supplied. At least the lights work. Now let's find out if the switch works. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the dump button. Let's go take a look, guys. See if it works. Oh yeah, listen to that. Beautiful, beautiful. Here's our exhaust. Look at that, look at that. Valve is dumping like it should. I'm gonna go hit the switch and that's gonna go back to the way it was. Alrighty. Nice, good work, good work. Love it. Love it. So we're gonna put that switch back to the way it was. Hit auto. Let's go take a look. It's gonna go back to the way it was. There we go, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful. So once it reaches that nice little 90-degree angle, it's gonna stop dumping, and that's it. So guys, this is definitely a successful install. I hope this helps you guys out. I mean, it's really not, you know, nothing amazing, but that's all done. So I'm gonna put the dash back together. We're gonna put this panel back together, and this truck is all set and ready to go. I am very happy with the way this thing turned out. So if your truck does not have, let me turn this shit off. If your truck does not have the suspension valve, the dump switch, you can do this all yourself. Just gotta buy the switch, the air line, the valve, a fitting, and that's it. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Again, there you go, it works. Power divide. In, out. Hell yeah. So I'm excited about that. Very simple. I'm gonna put this thing back together. We're gonna get this thing cleaned up, and that's pretty much it for this particular truck. They should be coming for this thing Monday. And again, TDB Trucking, guys, thank you very much. Say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Alrighty guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys very much. Give it a like, thumbs up. Have a great day. Love it.